another person. Yes, very good, Joram. I'm just now trying to clarify on what you have defined. Because if I look at some of your answers, thank you, Joram.
Yes, thank you, sir.
So I was saying that when I look at some of the answers, people were saying communicable diseases. These are diseases that are spread from one person to another. So what if I don't have that communicable disease? Can it be spread from me to another person? No. So you need to talk about the infected person. It is spread from an infected person to another person. That way it will be very, very important for you. So I'm going to be reading the question like I've read two numbers. So we shall discuss those two numbers. Then I go back and display. Because as I told you that my screen now cannot display words per words or sentence per sentence. So that is what communicable diseases are. Now, can we give examples of communicable diseases? Now, here they are asking you to give 3 or 2 examples of communicable intestinal diseases. So you have to be very careful. Here there is the word intestinal diseases, and most of you were not giving the correct answer.
Can I share?
Yes, you.
So people can copy?
Yeah, you can share. Can I? Yes, you can share that.
Okay.
The one of the. Yes, so that I can explain, that is okay. Eric, thank you. Okay, so members, they are good, so that we can go through those numbers. So we were talking about communicable diseases, which we have already explained. Now, the question number 2 was asking you to give examples of intestinal communicable diseases. Intestinal communicable diseases. Some of you were giving corona, some of you were giving HIV, stroke, AIDS. So I don't know whether those are intestinal. These are diseases. Now, if they talk about intestinal, they are meaning those ones that attack the intestine. Are we together? Yes. Eric, are you able to share?
Let me get the notes. I'm going to share.
Okay. The notes I'd send it to your WhatsApp. Examples, and as we are going to display, let's try to give some of the examples of intestinal communicable diseases. These are diseases that are spread from one person, from an infected person to another, but it affects the intestine. So here you give only the one that affects the intestines. You don't give the one that does not affect the intestine. So that one you have to get the difference. Yes, Deborah, can you give us some of the communicable intestinal diseases? Deborah? Yes, Deborah.
Diarrhea.
Okay, we have diarrhea. Good. We also have, are you giving only one, Deborah? Okay, so Deborah said we have diarrhea. That is very correct. So when we talk about diarrhea, here we mean the passing out of watery stool, the frequent passing out of watery stool. So you pass out water. So that one, it affects the intestine, and it can be spread from one person to another, from an infected person to another. Yes, some of you are also putting it in the chat, which is okay. Like Mercy has said, we have diarrhea, we have dysentery, and the cholera. Then somebody is saying, teacher, I'm not seeing the screen. Yes, we have not yet displayed. Yes, now the screen is there coming. We shall be following what is in our screen. We can see, yes. Okay, yes, we have. Okay, Eric, you can stop there before you put the next. Let me just explain those 2 points, those 2 questions. Now, here we are talking about communicable diseases. So if they only ask you to give communicable diseases, Okay, Eric, before you go to the number 3, let it not be seen. Number 3. Okay, there you are. So here we are talking about communicable diseases. These are diseases spread from one infected person to another, caused by germs. Now, there are two things that you need to understand from this point. There is the word spread, which most of you were saying these are diseases caused from one person to another. You cannot use the word cause. Here we are saying it is spread, meaning it is spread by some vectors. There are some disease carriers that takes them. So that is what it means by communicable disease. Now, Deborah has given us example of intestinal. Here they are saying communicable intestinal diseases. So communicable intestinal diseases, these are diseases that are spread from one person to another and it affects the intestine. So you are not just supposed to give examples. You are supposed to be very, very careful as you are giving those examples. So one, we have cholera that we are seeing on our screen. 2, we have dysentery. So when we talk about dysentery, you are supposed to know the meaning of dysentery. There's a difference between dysentery and the diarrhea. So when you talk about diarrhea, is the passing out of watery stool many times. But when you talk about dysentery, it is the frequent passing out of watery stool with blood stain. Teacher, I can't see you. Yes, you are not going to see me because it is only the work which you are supposed to see on the screen. Okay. Now, number 3 is talking about what is diarrhea. Number 3, what is diarrhea? Maybe, Eric, before you display that, let the learners first define for us what diarrhea is. What is diarrhea before we get the answer? Okay. Let me get some answers from my friends here. Yes, Chris. What is diarrhea? Chris? Valentine, Chris?
Diarrhea is a frequent passing out of watery stool.
Very good. So when we talk about diarrhea, it is the frequent passing out of watery stool. Now, most of you were adding the word with the blood stain. If you add the word with the blood stain, then the answer does not become correct. Because when you pass out watery stool many times with the blood stain, that is what they call dysentery. So you need to know the difference between diarrhea and dysentery. Are you getting learners? So here, the answer that I expected from you is just like the way Chris has said. That is the frequent passing out of water. And we learned about this. We learned about diarrhea and so on. Okay. So Eric, okay, as we are waiting for Eric to move to the answer, what questions are there? How can we control? Yes. Okay, let's go to some other people here. Bruce, how can we control? Can you give me one way of control?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Bruce.
Yes, teacher. Yes, teacher.
Okay, so I was asking you how to control diarrhea. Can you give us one way of controlling diarrhea?
By covering food.
Yes, by covering the cooked food, by covering food. Because once you cover food, it means that the flies that carries germ to the food will not sit on the food. So by covering food will control diarrhea. How about another one before we go to number 4? How about another one before we go to number 4? Okay, let me try to get someone here. All right, before we go to number 4, how about another answer of controlling diarrhea? There is Melvin. Yes, Melvin. Melvin, can you give us one? Apart from covering food, Melvin. By washing hands
before eating.
Very good. Thank you. By washing hands before. Thank you. So by washing hands before eating food. In that way, you will be able to control the spread of diarrhea. Now, number 4 is there. Let me pick someone to read for us number 4 and give us at least one answer for number 4. Yes, can I get someone here to read for us that one? Okay, we have very many people here. Winfred, can you read for us that number, Winfred? Winfred?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, can you read number 4?
Number 4. I can't see it very properly. Suggest
But I'm seeing it well.
anyone way. Suggest anyone way how diarrhea is spread.
Already we know the meaning of diarrhea. We have even looked at how we can control. So how is it spread? They are just asking for one way. Okay. So let's try to get some answers from you here. How is diarrhea spread? Okay. Here, spread means how it is spread from an infected person to a healthy person. Now, most of you, when you are giving this one, you give how they are caused. And someone said it is spread by germs. What does that one mean? So let's look at some of the answers from our friends here. Okay, we have Anita. Yes, Anita, can you give us one way how diarrhea is spread, Anita?
Through drinking contaminated water.
Very good. Through drinking contaminated water. Good. Thank you, Anita. Let us also hear from another person. Yvonne, Angel. Yes, Angel.
Through eating contaminated food.
Very good. Through eating contaminated food. Okay. Do we have any other answer? Do we have any other answer? Do we have, yeah, there are people who have not put up their hands. We should also pick them. Okay. How about Anna? Anna, can you give us another one, another way, Anna? Apart from drinking contaminated water, apart from eating contaminated food. Yes, Anna. Okay, let's go to Casper. Yes, Casper. Casper, can you give us?
Through houseflies.
Okay, you can say it is spread through houseflies. Very good. So Eric, you can display for them the answers they have been mentioned. So those are ways how, yes, very good. It is spread through housefly. Casper has just said that. It is spread through drinking contaminated water. So water can get contaminated with this bacteria that spread what? That spread diarrhea. So once you drink that water which is contaminated, water which has that germs, automatically you are going to get diarrhea. It will affect your stomach, the intestine, then you start passing out watery stool. You will start visiting the latrine time and again. That's the meaning of frequently. Because frequent here means you are going to, sorry, frequently means you are going to be going to the toilets all the time. Okay. Okay, I have Anna who has not muted. Anna, you didn't mute yourself. Very good, and it was trying to make us noise. Okay, also through eating contaminated food. Okay, you know that it is spread through housefly, and housefly can contaminate food. When housefly come from maybe where there are dirty places like in the toilets, somebody who has diarrhea can go and pass out watery stool in the toilet. And once housefly land on the feces in the toilet, then it comes and land on your food. It will contaminate your food. How about when you use dirty hands? Yes, some of you may use dirty hands and you touch food with your dirty hands. So you will contaminate food. And once you eat it, it will spread this disease called diarrhea. It will start affecting your stomach. Then we're also talking of through eating unwashed foods. Yes, there are food that we eat it raw, especially fruits. Fruits like mangoes, that you eat, the avocado. There are so many fruits, the apple, the germs. But once you don't wash them, it may contain germs, and once you eat it, it will affect you. So then the next number is number 5. Which vector spreads cholera?
Tonny. Okay, children, let's copy those corrections. You can get your book and you'll be writing those corrections. When Teacher Tonny comes back, we'll go through them. Okay? Is that clear? You see some people's hands up. Is that clear? Yes, Kent? Okay, Teacher Tonny is
What
here.
happened to Teacher Tonny? What has happened to Teacher Tonny? Teacher? Teacher? Teacher?
Teacher Tonny, are you there?
Yes, so I
Tonny.
was explaining, Eric, I hope people can hear me.
Yes, I can. You can proceed.
Okay,
Yes, we can.
I can. Okay, thank you.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, my friend. My friends.
So you're gonna Greg. Greg.
To you, members of P4, there is one thing you Okay, but we can continue. I was explaining the word vectors and I had asked Sanita to explain to us. Yes, Sanita, are you able to explain? Sanita, what are vectors? Okay. Yes, Sanita, you can come on.
Teacher, I can't see.
Okay, no, don't mind of seeing, but what I'm asking is, what are vectors?
Vectors are insects which spread diseases.
Very good. Insects or animals which spread diseases. Okay, thank you. You can unmute. You can unmute yourself. If you screen, Eric, you there? Okay, if he's not there, we can continue. Members, we can continue. So you know that vectors are insects which spread diseases. So there is the word spread and there is the word cause. So it is now, it is the germs. So these vectors, for them, they carry germs that spread disease. So the one that spread cholera is called houseflies. So most of these intestinal diseases are spread by houseflies. So that is one thing you need to know. Now let's go to number 6. Number 6 is saying, give any 2 ways of controlling the spread of cholera in an area. Give any 2 ways of controlling the spread of cholera in an area. Here we know that it is spread by houseflies. That is the vector that spread cholera. So how do we control the spread of cholera in an area? Yes? Okay, let's get some responsible. Members, I'm trying to use the question. We give the control measures. How do we control? Let's start Jasmine. Yes, Jasmine. How do
By boiling
we
water.
control the spread, Jasmine?
By boiling water.
By boiling water, thank you. Are you able to add another one?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Yes, my friend. Okay, let's see some answers from the chat. Here is saying by covering leftover food. Yes, you need to cover leftover food, or you need to cover food so that housefly does not sit on your food that you are going to eat. Then Melvin is saying smoking the latrines. Yeah, you smoke the latrines in order to kill or to chase the houseflies. Drinking boiled water, wash hands with the soaps. So those are some of the answers that we are supposed to give in that area. So let's continue. Okay, let's go and we see our answers. I don't know where Eric is there. If he's there, he's able to rescue us from. Okay, he's off, but we can continue with this. Okay, members, I'm trying to open. You are able to go through those numbers. All right. So here we are talking of how we can control. Number one, you have already said by boiling water. So you need to boil water before drinking it. This one, we have talked about it time and over. We have talked about it over and over time. So members, if you boil water, then they can ask you a question. Why do we boil water? So we boil water in order to kill germs. So when there is germ that spread cholera in that water, and once you boil it, it will be able to what? To kill that germs. Then B, you can also talk about killing houseflies by spraying with insecticides. You need to kill the houseflies around. Even in your toilet or the latrine, if you have the houseflies there, make sure you go and spray that toilet with insecticides. So these insecticides, these are chemicals that are used to kill the what? To kill the houseflies. Then number three, you can also wash hands before eating, serving, or handling food. Before you eat food, you make sure you wash your hands. Before you serve food, you make sure you wash your hands. And even before you handle food, make sure you wash your hands. Let's go to number 7 and we see, okay. This is number 7. They are asking that give 2 signs and symptoms of cholera. What are the signs and symptoms of cholera? Signs and symptoms that you're going to see. Okay. Can we hear from our friends here? Can we hear from our signs and symptoms of cholera? Yeah. Okay, let Darren to give the answer. Okay, Darren, idea. Very good. Darren. Yes, Darren, you are allowed to give the answers. Are you able to give us the answer? Are you able to unmute yourself? When I call me, I've given you permission to give. Okay, so let's go to Angel Mercy. Angel Mercy, can you give us some of the signs and symptoms? I know some of the answers are in the chat. As I read, okay, the signs and symptoms.
Signs and symptoms. Signs and symptoms.
Wait, the answer. Signs and
Of
symptoms.
cholera.
Stomach ache. Stomach ache. Severe vomiting.
We have what? We have stomach ache, okay. Severe vomiting.
Severe diarrhea.
You can continue.
Body weakness.
Body weakness. Okay.
Dehydration. Yes, teacher.
I think
Teacher.
someone in the chat, but I think it's correct. Yes, please. So an NGO and a friend said we have what we call severe vomiting. Okay, they talked about severe diarrhea. Once you are suffering from cholera, you will find that you have that severe diarrhea or even dysentery. Okay, so we have dehydration. Because you are passing out watery stool, you are vomiting, you will be able to lose a lot of water in your body. So once you lose a lot of water in your body, then your body will be dehydrated. Your body will not have enough water. So that's why they are saying one of the signs of cholera is dehydration. Okay, so because of vomiting, because of passing out watery stool, you will be able to, your body will be dehydrated, will lack enough water. So these are answers from those of Angel, we can see. Okay, go back and see the answers that these people have been contributing from displaying the answer and at the same time picking you people say these questions. Okay. So those are some signs and symptoms. And remember here they have asked you general question that you give the signs and symptoms. Okay. So you should be able to give. So these are some of the signs and symptoms. One, we have what we call severe vomiting that has been given by Angel. We also have severe diarrhea, passing out of watery stool, then pain around the abdomen, which for you I've called it as stomach ache, but here I'm calling it as pain around the abdomen. The lower part of your stomach there, you will be feeling pain there. That's what they're calling. Then we also have what we call the body weakness. So we have body weakness, we have dehydration. So let's go to number 8. Yeah, this is question number 8. That give 2 ways how cholera is spread from one person to another. How is this disease spread from one person to another? All right, let's try to go through. After displaying a question, I go back to you to find out the answer for you. Okay, all right, I see some very many hands up. I see very many hands up. Okay, I see very many hands up. So let me try to pick some of you to give me how cholera is spread. Yes, Norman, can you give us one? Norman?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Norman. Can you
Yes.
give us one way how cholera is spread? Yes, Norman. Can you give us one way how cholera is spread?
By sharing disposal things.
by sharing what? So yes, Norman, well tried. I think members, you need to be very careful when you are giving answers for science, because remember, if you know how it is spread and you know how to control it, then sometimes even sharing something with somebody who is sick may not be a very big problem. So let's hear from Ajay. Okay, Ajay does not have the volume. I think I may not pick him. We have Jevan Lare. Yes, Jevan Lare. Yes, Jevan. Give us one way how cholera. Yes, give us one way how cholera is spread.
It is spread through eating contaminated food.
Okay, it is spread through eating contaminated food. So in this case, you will find, as we even said, that it is spread through houseflies. So houseflies can contaminate your food. So when we talk about contamination, is how something gets into contact with germs. So for example, housefly can pick cholera germs like the vibrio cholera, the bacteria that cause cholera can be picked by housefly to our food, and food will be contaminated if you don't cover it. Secondly, even you can handle, you can even go to the toilet. Okay, I was trying to explain your answer, my friend Larry. Okay, so I think you have got what I was trying to explain. So let us say that cholera can be spread through eating contaminated food. And I was trying to tell you how your food can get contaminated. And when we talk about contamination, it is how food gets into contact with the germs. So once you eat that food, it will be. Then also we have people who are writing in the chats. Yes, there are people who are giving so many answers in the chats, which I also have to pay attention to. Okay, instead of saying teacher me, you can just simply give the answer. For example, Eleanor said through drinking contaminated food. Yes, instead of saying teacher me, give the answer. Okay, Valentine also is saying it is spread by houseflies. Very good, Valentine. Oh, Grant Birunji. No. Grant is saying by sharing sharp objects. No, Grant. That one may not spread cholera to you once you share what? Sharp objects. Because once those sharp objects are not contaminated, once you don't even eat them, it does not spread any cholera to you. So sharing sharp objects can only spread diseases like HIV/AIDS. So that one should not be your best answer. Then somebody also said it is spread. Mayanja said it is spread through 4Fs. Yes, whereby you have 4Fs, you have feces, flies, food, and fingers. The contaminated worst answer you can say is drinking contaminated water. Runji is saying through food. No, please. You talk about contaminated, which is not contaminated. It may only cause some other diseases. Half-cooked food may only spread some other diseases apart from what? From cholera. You can cook your food well, and you will find that maybe it is contaminated after some time. So half-cooked food, please, let's not give it as our correct answer. So let's go back and see. Let's go back and see those answers that we have been giving in the chats. Just forgive me if I didn't read all the answers. I was able to see my screen. Okay, good. You can see how cholera is spread is here. One, it is spread through drinking contaminated water, which we have already explained. It is also spread through eating contaminated food, which we have already explained. And also we are saying it is spread by houseflies. Those are some of the ways. Then there is that number 9. Okay, number 9, they are asking which word is used to describe frequent passing out of watery stool with blood stains. I continue reading. Which word is used to describe the frequent passing out of watery stool with blood stain? Okay, let's go and hear answers from our friends. Yes. Okay, when I was marking, I saw many of my friends wrote different answers. But remember, they are saying which word is used to describe frequent passing out. So the word frequent means many times, but with the blood stain. You pass out watery stool many times with the blood stain. So which word is that? Which disease is that? That is what I want to know from you. Okay, Aine, can you give us? Aine, can you give us? I know most of you have written the answers in the chat, but you can also give Aine. Yes, Aine.
Answer is dysentery.
Very good. The answer is dysentery. Can you give us the spelling of dysentery? Because it was also a problem. Can you give us the spelling of dysentery?
Dysentery. Dysentery.
Dysentery. Very good. Okay, Albert also has spelled it very well. Albert also spelled it here very well. Grant Birunji also has given the spelling very well. Okay, dysentery. Oh, Deborah has also spelled it very well. So I like those who are using the charts for giving the answers. I like them so much. Thank you. Okay, so that word is dysentery. Remember, we have defined what dysentery is at the beginning when we looked at communicable intestinal disease. We talked about diarrhea, we talked about dysentery. So the difference between diarrhea and dysentery is that all of them, they are passing out of watery stool many times. But with the dysentery, you pass out watery stool with the blood stain. That stool, that loose stool of yours will contain blood. I remember when I was explaining this, I even displayed for you. Okay, Kelly is saying diarrhea. Precious, no, it is not diarrhea. Diarrhea, you just pass out watery stool without blood. Are you getting, Kelly? So, but here when we are talking about with blood stain, we mean dysentery. So you need to know the difference between dysentery and diarrhea. So that answer is correct for those of you who have given in the chat. I was trying to go through the chats. Okay. So if you are using the chat to write the answer, that is correct. And most of you wrote the correct answer of dysentery. Let's go back and see part B of the question. Okay, let's go back and see part B of that question. Okay, members, I think you have me because we have to go back and look for okay, I hope you are able to see my screen. Okay, so let me pick science P4 and we open it so that we can see part B of that. So part B there comes. Good. Part B is there. Okay. So that is number 9A, which the answer is dysentery, and the spelling is dysentery, dysentery. So dysentery is the passing out of watery stool with the blood stain. So we talk about frequent. The word frequent here means many times. Every time you are visiting the latrine. But once you are visiting the latrine, there is blood stain in that what? In that loose stool. So part B, they are saying, state any two ways how the above disease is spread. Now you have already identified the above disease as dysentery. So now they are asking you, how is dysentery spread? Yes. How is it spread? Good. How is dysentery spread? Let's go back and hear the answer. Correct. Okay. So you see, most of these are internal diseases. Let's go. How is dysentery spread? Okay. There we are. There we are. Okay, there we are. Let me find out from these people. Yes, Precious. Kelly, how is dysentery spread? Precious?
Yes, teacher.
How is dysentery spread? That is our question, part B. Because dysentery, we have defined it as the disease.
Yes.
Which is frequent passing out of watery stool. So how is it spread from an infected person to a healthy person?
By
By?
By drinking contaminated water or taking contaminated.
Okay, drinking contaminated water and eating contaminated food. That is also what is coming. Now, members, let's talk about drinking contaminated water. Let's not say by through drinking water which is not boiled or cooked. Let's not use that answer. Let's say drinking contaminated water. You can boil water. How about if you don't keep it well? It can still get contaminated. So if you answer like Aine is saying drinking water which is not boiled or cooked, that may not be very correct. Okay? What you should do is you talk about by drinking contaminated water, because you can boil water and you don't keep it safe. It can still get contaminated. Are you getting? So that is correct. That is correct. Let's also hear from somebody is saying through dysentery. Yes. How is dysentery spread? Through dysentery. Is that the most correct? Let's find out from others. Let's find out from others. Deborah, can you also give us? Deborah, can you also add?
Contaminated food.
Eating contaminated food. Very good. Very good. I see Salome is talking of time. Yes, Salome, to summarize, don't when I go to my screen. When I go to my screen, I may not be able to go. All right. Okay. Okay, let's
Teacher.
Okay.
Teacher.
Okay. So these are yes, please. Yes.
Are we going to write them?
This work I'm going to put in our Google Classroom. All this correction will be put there and you will find it.
Okay.
Now they did not say give to how dysentery is spread. All of that now I'm using it because we have identified number 9A as dysentery. So how is it spread? Through drinking contaminated water. Let's not talk about through drinking unboiled water. Members, how about if you boil water and you don't keep it safe? It can get contaminated. So the best answer here is through drinking contaminated food. Okay, my friend, you can unmute yourself because I'm already in another screen. Then also through eating contaminated food, and housefly can carry germs onto our food. So that means it is also spread through housefly. Now, how can we control the spread of the above disease? Now here they are talking about how can we control the spread of dysentery. Okay. One, we can control the spread by boiling water for drinking. Members, if you boil your water for drinking, keep it in a safe container. Okay. Then also washing fruits before eating them. When you buy like mangoes, you buy like apple, don't run and eat them without washing because they may be contaminated. So you are supposed to wash them first before washing them will remove the germs. Therefore, you will eat the fruit which is not contaminated. Okay. Then also you can say spraying insecticides to kill houseflies. So we are saying it can be spread through houseflies. So therefore, you need to kill the houseflies around. So most of our latrines at home they have a lot of houseflies. So you are supposed to make sure you spray them. Okay. So let's finally look at number 10. So that we can end there. Our typhoid, it is caused. Now here it is the cause, not the spread. When they say name the vector, we could say housefly. But here they're saying what causes typhoid and what causes cholera. They are all caused by bacteria, but they have a specific name of those bacteria Like for typhoid is called Salmonella typhi, and then cholera is called Vibrio cholera. You should check the spelling, because when I was marking, most of you were having problem in the spelling for Salmonella and the spelling for Vibrio. So Vibrio, most of you were not writing that I after R. Vibrio is VIBRIO. That is Vibrio cholera. So mention 2 ways of controlling the spread of typhoid. How do we control the spread of typhoid? Okay, most of these things, they have the same control measures because they have similar ways how they are spread. So to control typhoid, we can boil water for drinking, wash hands with clean water and soap after visiting the latrine. Then you cover all the foods and drinks. So this is where we are going to stop. But in Google Classroom so that we are able to find these corrections there. For primary 4, I'm very sure primary 4 math and science, I marked all your papers primary 4. Only that some of you started again submitting your answers late after me marking everything. So primary 4, your results are there. Primary math and science, I marked it all. But most of you again were turning the thing that I have marked. If you are turning correction, that's okay. But I'm going to make sure I display this correction there. Okay, so Charles, I think I'm done. Let me just hear from my colleagues here if they can mute themselves. Otherwise, thank you so much, members.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Thank you, members.
Bye, teacher. Thank you for teaching us.
Bye. In your group.
Bye, teacher.
Okay, thank you, members, for saying bye-bye to me. May God bless you all. I take the microphone back to Eric. Yes, Eric,
Yes.
you are the host. You can stop the recording and live streaming. I'm done.
Okay, thank you for the lesson, Chatoni.
Thank you so much.